The landing pages you're sending traffic to are the most important parts of your funnel, but so often I see brands focus on just the ads and not this layer down where the conversion actually happens. As an example, for a company we recently worked with for Ghostwrite Ads, they were bidding on all of these keywords that had completely different search intents, but they were sending them to the same landing page that was completely unrelated to the keywords that they were bidding on. So we did a small change where we took the same keywords, put them into separate ad groups, and had them go to landing pages that were related to the keyword's search intent. And what this did was overnight it increased their conversion rate. So to take a step back, what you say on your landing page is so important. And often I see startups are the biggest culprits of saying very abstract things that mean nothing. Like, we're revolutionizing finance, but they're a payroll company. The landing page doesn't even talk to the pain points. And on this episode, that is what we're going to be talking about. We're actually going to be dissecting all these different startups' homepages and landing pages from Y Combinator and roasting their messaging to be more effective at conveying what's actually happening. And to do this, I'm having my friend Jordan Mix on. Jordan is one of the partners at Late Checkout, which is a design agency. And we're going to be talking about the principles of how to communicate well with copywriting, what landing page structure should look like, and then we're actually going to go in and roast companies page by page. And if you like this type of business content, sub to this channel and also sub to the email newsletter in the description below. You'll get startup ideas and growth tactics just like this. And this episode is brought to you by Talent Fiber. Talent Fiber is your go-to source for hiring the best offshore talent. Why they're different than a headhunter agency, some of these that you've probably seen being marketed on all of these popular podcasts, is that they don't bounce after they find you the talent. I've heard horror stories of people paying the finder fee and then the employee quitting 3 months later, and they just sunk 10 grand into a person that was only there for 3 months. How Talent Fiber works differently is they're a business professional outsourcing company. So they're incentivized for that employee to stay around. They only make money if that employee stays. They also handle all of the hiring, all of the HR, all of the payroll, and they can get the best talent because they offer the equivalent of a 401k, of health insurance, etc., within the countries that they're hiring from. And the best talent wants those things. They don't want to be a freelancer and have to pay for that out of pocket. We use Talent Fiber for all the companies I own, and the teams we can build are unbelievable. They're cheaper and work harder than the US equivalent, and they're at a third of the cost. Go to talentfiber.com to learn more, and let's get started with today's show. What's up, man? How you doing, big dog?
Let's go.
What's up?
You know where we're at right now?
Where are you?
We're in the pit, baby.
Yeah, we are.
We're in the pit, baby.
I love it. I love it. Dude, this conversation, I feel like copywriting is one of the most overlooked things in like growth marketing, and like something that like people throw hundreds of thousands of dollars of ad spend out stuff that is just like terrible and doesn't say anything. So I basically you're going to get a masterclass today on like, how do you actually talk about the thing that you're building, and like how to write well and write really concisely. But I don't know where you want to start. I was thinking about jumping in maybe at like we just go and talk about like what I see like common mistakes that founders make, especially in early stage. Where you think you want to head?
Yeah, I mean that sounds great. I think like maybe giving some context on like how this convo started. I tweeted last week about a beautiful site that caught me. I got trapped by the beauty of it. I was pressing enter to delay animations, and Cody comes out of the woodwork in the replies. And I mean, I might just like want to pull it up.
Let's do it. Let's pull it up here. I'll bring it up right now. Hold on.
Bring it up, because the reply, like I had to like step away from the desk and just read the reply, you know. Because
dude, I also didn't feel like I was coming at you about it. I was more just like,
no, I loved it.
Totally. Yeah. So it's this site. It's called Mainframe. It's beautiful. I mean,
it's gorgeous, right? Like,
it's unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Totally. And it's like, I see this and I'm, you know, the designer side of me that loves the art is in like, you know, creating this experience is all about it. And then the growth marketer in me immediately is like, oh my God, I can just like feel the bounce rate on this. So what I said was me physically cringing, thinking about the bounce rate for the funnel that I'm supposed to execute to generate leads so the company can raise its next round. And then the designer having more social equity internally than me, so my growth suggestions get icebox. Me resting, investing, knowing that in 90 days they'll change to what I suggested. So anyway,
I mean,
I think that gives a lot of context to the whole thing. But
that is art right there. Like I read that and I was like, that is just, you're a poet, man.
no,
Like
I appreciate it, man.
I know. I've written your tweets down, and like, I formatted one of them like in my own style. The met the founder message.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
You know, met the founder, same founder. Unbelievable.
Totally.
Well, we can put that on screen.
Yeah.
I think there's just, we're in a time where with infinite options in an AI world, you think you need to like do more with your insecurities, right? It's like your insecurities just like create more, do more word salad, more like beautiful design. But it's just like that tether between like, I got trapped by that beautiful design, and then you brought it back down to earth of like, but the bounce rate though, like you're living in a fantasy.
I think it serves
land.
different purposes though,
Yeah,
right? Too like,
totally.
like if that was like, oh hey, we're a design studio and we're trying to show like how beautiful of things we can create because that's why you're going to hire us. That's a totally, you know, that serves its purpose. But where I went was I was like, okay, cool. Like looks like they raised money. I don't know what they do. Like I literally like I'm like I have no idea what they do. Number one, off of like the copy that's on the website, and then number two, it's like if I'm gonna try to get people to sign up for this thing, which is typically like why venture-backed companies exist, right? And like we try to get them to grow really like quickly. There's no way that this is going. I could ever make that work from like a funnel optimization standpoint, and so I think it's just like it's two sides of a spectrum. You're just trying to find that cross section because like. Good design works, right? Like we know that. Like the better designed a thing is, the more trust that it has, the more just like you can get people to be further down that buy-in funnel, like from a purchasing decision by having good design versus worse design. Now there's a couple caveats with that, with like sometimes really ugly ads work because they stand out within an industry, and like sometimes like being a one, looking like 1 out of 100, if you line them up, if you have all black squares and one is red, you're going to only look at the red one, right? So that can be a strategy, but anyway, yeah.
Yeah. And that is design too, right? Like totally. That, like for the audience, like be free in your design. It's like, yeah, like that one ad that goes viral all the time is like our designer quit, like in Paint. It's like, in a way that is design, and like it doesn't need to be pixel perfect design. So like, back to the original points, like in an AI world and like where everyone can make stuff very quick, like be free. You can 100%. Do way less. You can write way less words. You can ship way less designs. Like you can ship a way shorter website, and you're actually going to do way more. So I think like just like breaking that down would be like good for the audience to like come back down to earth.
I think that's great. And like small tactical thing to piggyback off of that, like one of my go-tos now with using all these LLMs is like give them word count like limits on everything that they write.
Yeah.
Like everything that they are allowed to touch, here's this limit basically that they have to hit, or like that they have to stay under. And what this does is it creates like, what's also really effective and really powerful is be like, write me a version of this in 5 words, 10 words, 15 words. And we'll talk about this more, but like, I mean, and maybe actually this is where we go, is like this idea of what good copywriting is. Because I think for a lot of people, they hear that and they're like, oh, well, this ad makes me feel. And that's like, no, that's actually not what good copywriting is. Like to me, and I'm curious to hear about how you guys think about it at like Checkout and all the companies that you guys run. Like how we think about it is like, I'm trying to say a specific idea with as few words as possible. And like, that's my filter. Like, but sometimes if I shorten the words, like, say I go down to 5, it won't convey the idea exactly how I'm need the idea to get conveyed. And so like your job as like a writer, as a copywriter, is basically like, what is the idea that's novel? And then what are the fewest amount of words that I can basically convey that idea in? And that's how like I think about it. And I always push our team to think about it whenever we're doing writing, but I'm curious how you guys think about it.
Yeah, we've been thinking about it a ton, and it goes through iterations. We try to hold ourselves to tweet-sized landing pages, so it's 280 characters one call to action, one image, one button. And like 280 characters, sometimes we go over that, but like that's like the constraints that we try to have, and we try to do that on every different page.
I love it.
So if a site needs 2 pages, we'll do, you know, multiple things. And like some of the agencies that we have like do need more, but we try to do sections based on this tweet size landing page. So you see this boring ads right here. It's like we hyper obsessed over this to be very specific. Like we don't want to work with every brand running ads. We want to work with growth obsessed brands. And like we want to call people out right there, like stop gambling. A lot of people with ads say they feel like they're throwing money away and they're gambling. So it's like stop gambling, get boring, get consistent. So that feeling, like we try to evoke those feelings in it. And like really, I think Harry Dry went on How I Write with David Perel.
Such a good video. We'll link it below for everybody who needs like just a crash course on how to write well.
Watch it once, twice, 3 times. You're spending holidays with your family, like watch it there. Like it is so dang good. And he has these 3 things that have just like stuck in my head. It's like, and it's all around this principle of like write copy that can't be copied. It's like, can you visualize it? Is it true? Like, can you say it? And like, is it undeniable? Is it unfalsifiable? Like, or like, can anyone else say it basically? So it's like the New Balance ad, for example, like the worn by supermodels in London and dads in Ohio. Like it's so visual. No one else can say it. Like Puma can't say that. Nike can't say it. And so it puts them in a class of their own. And so it's those 3 like main principles that we use a lot and keep coming back to like every sentence. And then it's just like, how do you cut word? Like you're saying, how do you cut words out? If you don't need a word, then get rid of it.
100%. And if that word doesn't add to the idea, like if you can still convey the same idea without that word, get rid of that word is like how I think about it and how I try to approach it. And I get this feedback on like how I write a lot where they're like, oh, it's like you say, like often it's like, you know, I use like 5th grade writing language, right? To convey very big, hard ideas. And like, that's intentional. Like I'm doing that because in my experience, like the more the more letters that I have in a sentence, the more complicated it gets to convey this thing that's complex. And also it shows true mastery as well, right? Like I think that's this other piece that you can convey. Like if you can say a very complex thing in like 10 words, then and use some type of analogy or metaphor or whatever that takes to as a vehicle to accomplish that, it shows an expertise that is going to be impossible for somebody else to copy or convey in the same way. And here's that New Balance ad, just to lay it down. And I mean, just to break this down, right? It's like, okay, so what's something that's like only they can claim? The London and Ohio, right? What's something, what are all the pieces again, Jordan?
The can you visualize it? So that's like the supermodels and the dads. Like you see the dad at the grill, you see the supermodel posted up next to Big Ben, like immediately. They could have said like worn by pretty girls, but that's 2 words versus like everyone knows as supermodels, or like worn by middle-aged men, like not as good.
But I want you to, a great breakdown of this though is that supermodel versus pretty girls thing. Like you can visualize a supermodel way easier than you can visualize a pretty girl, right? It's like a broader idea in the mind. And so that more specific idea in the mind, within your mind's eye, is going to have more of a visual impact, like more of that concrete idea. So
yeah, it's like if Tesla was going at it, it's like, hey, we go 0 to 60 faster versus we go 0 to 60 in 3.2 seconds, or faster than you can take a sip of that latte, you know,
or like 0 to 60 faster than F1, right?
Yeah.
Like something like that, right? That it compares it to a thing that in their mind has an idea. And a lot of copywriting, I think, it comes down to anchoring it to something that already is in their mind, right? Like people only dedicate so much space to everything in their mind. Like you only have so much space for like chapstick, right? Like you got 2 brands that you have in your mind for chapstick, right? Everybody does. And so when a brand comes in and they're trying to basically like attach on to that or take over that space in your mind, that's what you're fighting for. That's the game that you're having to play, you're having to win on. So
real quick, like,
yeah.
And I think like for the audience, like, why does this matter? Like, I'm not a copywriter. I mean, you're talking to like two growth guys right now that also aren't copywriters, but like, do you write? Do you send emails? Do you send tweets? Like, everybody is a copywriter.
Do you speak to people? Do you sell people? This should flow like, over into every part of your life.
It's everything. And it's like, I hate to use like the first principles thing, but like, I wish I would have started studying this stuff like like 10 years ago. Like, I used to be like the hand wavy guy of like, oh yeah, we'll just sling it up there, you know, like it'll be fine. But it really like matters, especially in this world where TikTok wants you to have a hook in 1.7 seconds. Like, good luck out there. Like, I mean, a landing page, you might get 7 seconds. You might.
Yeah, I mean, I think our average is like 2.5 off of like paid traffic, right? Like, I have under 3 seconds to convey what we do, to convince you of an idea, and to get you to do the action, to do the click that I'm wanting you to get, right? And so like, this is why this is so critical. Also, we see a direct relationship between this and like when we spend money driving traffic to these pages, right? Like a classic mistake I see startups make is they go and they set up a homepage landing page that has some like large idea, like we're revolutionizing like accounting. Like, okay, cool. I have no clue what that means. What does that mean? And like, it is a classic, right? They raise a 5 million Series A. They are like, we're going to, change the world with this accounting software. But in reality, what they actually are doing is like, hey, this bookkeeper that costs you $1,500 a month, we automate that away for $100, right? That is really what's going on. But I think that so often it's like, they just get sucked into this portal. And so anyway, to get back to this, like I want to touch on this one specific thing. That's like a great way to illustrate this. So Google ads, right? I see this so often, and I've seen like so much ad spend wasted by people bidding on Google ads, like keywords that are high value to them, but they send them to a generic landing page. And it's like, there's no, like, for example, I send them to like revolutionizing, accounting, right? But they're bidding on like bookkeeping services, right? Like that, the drop off you're going to see from that is going to be massive. And like, I've done this with so many companies where it's like, all we did is we're like, cool, like these keywords I've converted for you previously. Let's just build a landing page that talks directly to those keywords that we're bidding on so that there's an alignment between, hey, they searched this keyword, the keywords in the ad, and the keywords on the landing page that they just landed on, right? Think about that user journey in contrast to they searched this keyword, they saw an ad with the keyword, and they landed on a landing page that's talking about somebody revolutionizing accounting, right? The cohesiveness is going to create such a more impactful user journey and a higher sign up rate, higher activation rate, the whole thing down the funnel. So anyway, just wanted to interject that in there.
Just do less. Like
totally.
The same word. If you're finding the demand, you do all the work to find the demand. Just go and be like align with the demand every step of the way. Like the ads that we run, if they look the exact same, the ad copy as the landing page, we get cheaper conversion and we get better intent. And like we used to not do that because guess what? We were purists. We were getting way too cute on this stuff. It's like, we're in it for the art. We're going to convert. We have such a good product. Like it was just for me, when it's like in the world, it's all for them. Like you need 100%. To be like focusing on them. And it's like, for example, if you're running like the bookkeeper to revolutionizing like accounting, that's essentially running an ad against like a bicycle and then taking them to the SpaceX landing page. Like,
yeah, and it's like we're revolutionizing transportation. It's like buy this bicycle, right? And then they land on this thing that is totally unrelated. It's not talking to the problem that they're facing and that they're searching for. And there's spaces for both of this, though, because like the pushback I always get is like, hey, well, we want to build brand and we want people to think about it in this way. That's Google ads and Facebook ads are not how you're going to build brand. Facebook ads, you kind of can if you're doing remarketing campaigns with like educational content. We've done this in the past where it's like, cool, everybody that touches the site, let's put them into like this funnel basically that gets them into long form content that convinces them of our ideas, of our beliefs, of our position on, whatever it is in the world. But like majority of the time, if this is top of funnel traffic, like I'm trying to get the person to sign up. Like I don't care about anything else. And like I see this in SEO all the time as well, where it's like, they'll make landing pages, like blog posts as an example. And it's like this generic, like, it's not even it's like a question that's not even related to software, not even related to the product that they're building. And they're like, well, we're not getting signups. So it's like, okay, well, this isn't bottom of funnel. Like, the person isn't even in a mind space to like make a sign up decision, right? Like, when they land on this, number one. Number two, the page doesn't even have a call to action to like sign up for the thing. And like on all of the stuff that we're doing, like, we have a pop-up occur like at a scroll percentage. So like they hit the 40% scroll percentage on the page, pop up in their face, takes up the whole page, and it's like, sign up for this thing, right? So anyway, just like, again, tactical things that we've seen be extremely impactful, and like how to think about it, and like why is this copywriting thing so important, and the understanding of what the words mean. I think that's this other piece. So, but I'm curious, I cut you off on a ton of stuff. So I
love it. This is amazing. I think like, yeah, I mean, not to get like too esoteric with it, but I think there are these two worlds, and like these two, like we talk about this all the time. It's like there's generalism and then there's purism. And like the purism is like they let the art and the craft get in the way of the progress. It's like, we raised the 5 million seed, so we should have a beautiful landing page. And like, we should build brand, versus like where the generalist is in like the craft is feedback and iteration and experimentation and going where the demand lives. And like, really, you should be like maybe toward the generalist, the path is my recommendation, but like take elements of purism with you to like allow you to have craft and like have it be well thought out and designed. But I think what you were saying is like, more and more, there are two sides of the house. And you need like the brand growth side of the house, and you need the funnel growth side of the house. And those two things should kind of be separate and serve different like kings.
Totally. And I think that they often are like, they're two different forms of content. Like the, short, like transactional type of actions that I'm trying to get to happen. It's most of the time it's short form content, right? Like it's a static ad or it's here's a 30-second UGC video that I'm running on Facebook ads. Like, in contrast, when I'm doing brand building, I'm looking at like, okay, this is a 2,500 word blog post where it like is literally the founder's words conveying their beliefs on what the industry is, or like how they view the world. Or it's an hour-long video that's going super, super deep on like the beliefs that the company has. Those types of things are going to create so much deeper like relationships with people. And if you're trying to build like this cult brand, right? Like, that's how you do it, in my opinion. Like, a great example of it is Patagonia, right? They released these I have some of them. It's some of the most unbelievable writing that exists on the face of this planet. But it's literally just like these it's their catalogs, but it's almost a magazine, right? And it's like, but they don't even talk about the product. Like, the product is just naturally the hero of the journey within the story. It's like, Jim is out, he's fly fishing in southern, in western Montana. And he's like, they're facing super, super cold because it's late April, right? They're telling the story. But then naturally, like, Patagonia is a part of that story that's being told. You don't even feel like you're reading like about you're reading a hero's journey that the product is just a part of, right? And so then people like imagine themselves in that place, like in that mind space where they're like, oh, I want to be that. Like, and this is what people that do that wear, right? So that's how that brand can attach themselves to this idea that's larger than themselves. And you see that like in the copy, in the writing that they do, it's always in that form. So, yeah. What are some of your favorite brands right now that you feel like are communicating well, or like just historically? I mean, there's all the classics, right? Like Apple and et cetera, but or Nike as well. But I think there's all of these small ones that people don't think about. One of them is like, I think about Persil, the laundry detergent company out of the UK. Some of the best copy I've ever seen is them, and it's like we're more famous than like Victoria Beckham is like one of their classic like lines. And it's That's again, it's just like one of these like visceral things that they create. But I'm curious if there's any brands that come to mind on your side.
Yeah, I mean, one that's top of mind is Guinness beer right now. Like,
So
I don't know
good.
if their copy is super dialed, but like the split in the G thing that they're leaning into is absolutely insane. And like some of
Totally.
their collabs that they're doing to get women to drink Guinness is wild too. Like they partner with a cookie company for like a holiday pop-up, and it's just printing, and it's just
That's
like a
amazing.
photo op. You know, I don't even know if the girls are drinking it. They might be just passing it to the dudes, you know?
Yeah.
But like, it doesn't matter. But like in the UK, there's an insane shortage of Guinness now. And they
Fascinating.
are making pint glasses that have the G higher, so people drink less off rip because they have a supply issue. Literally insane. I don't know who manufactured the split in the G or if they rode that wave, but like, I think the splitting the G, like, they should be leaning into it. Like, I think they are, but I just haven't like gone to the Guinness website.
That's amazing. That's amazing. They're old. I mean, they're classic though of a company that had just done branding and positioning so well. So you know all the like the classic. It's like the toucan with like a Guinness on its nose, right? Like that. Those classic. I'll bring it up just to show it. So that was actually like the idea of an Irish pub didn't exist before Guinness. Guinness invented the Irish pub, and it was solely so that they could sell more Guinness. So when we think about this like establishment, you go to any place in the world, right? Like you're in Tokyo, you're in like, south of Portugal, you're in any of these locations, you're going to find an Irish pub there that like, it feels the exact same, where it's like, it's got a nook in the back.
Yeah.
It's all wood. And there's some bartender behind it playing, like ska music that is just, pissed that you're there, basically, is what it feels like.
Yeah.
And that was entirely manufactured by the brands like Guinness, right? And I think that is such a just interesting thing of like how powerful this is when you think about good copywriting, when you think about, good, basically communicating these ideas in an effective way, what it can do. Like you can make like a global phenomenon with this, right? So,
yeah. And like,
but here's this, the classic.
Yeah, that's so good. Also,
totally.
the metal.
It doesn't make any sense.
The metal sign is just
totally
the embossed, just incredible.
Totally. But
yeah, and I think it's like, what does this matter? What are we talking? What are we talking about here? Like these guys are all over the map. I really just that's the wrong way to look at it, I think. And Cody and I are always like borrowing from the internet and what works, bringing it back to like, we're largely in B2B. Like we're largely in B2B, like what people would call like boring SaaS agency
100%.
businesses. But the things that work, all humans are the same. And B2B is made up of a bunch of B2Cs. Like at the end of the day, you're just selling a giant B2C inside of a collective that we call B2B. So I think like borrowing from human psychology and behavior, you can learn and craft this stuff to make your brands like so much more dynamic and have such higher potential of success. So like this stuff matters a ton.
I think it's also like, direct to consumer and B2C, like historically, it's way more cutthroat, right? Like a great example of this is Dyson. So like Dyson, a cult brand. Like you talk to, any woman right now, I feel like their hair thing is going viral. Like
hair wrap,
the straightener and the hair wrap. Unbelievable. It's a crazy product. It's one of the most insane things I've ever seen. Like it's someone used like 3 weeks ago. And it was like, you don't really realize until you see it. And it's like in 3 minutes, hair is done, which would have normally take like a professional, like 3 hours. But I think that, when you think about industries that are more cutthroat, that means that the messaging that works in those industries is going to have to be so refined for it to be successful. So if we can take that and I can remix it in the B2B space, it's already gone through that filtering process. And we see this historically, right? Like why is UGC suddenly taking off within B2B, right? Like why are B2B brands like doing UGC ads? It's because it worked for the last 5 years and D2C. And it's now that cycle is just finally getting here. So again, just this, like, why is this important? Why you should be thinking about this, why you should be taking in all of this, from everywhere and using it. It's because instead of having to go through the learning cycles yourself, you can skip to the part where it's like, oh, we're 90% of the way there already. Let's just take this and then, transform it so that it's good for us. And so I think that maybe is a good jump point to start looking at some of these companies. If you're down. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Let's do it. Let's just live react to some stuff.
I love it. So what I suggested that we do for this is basically just go to Y Combinator's website and we just look at the brands that have come through the most recent cohorts. and just like look at their websites and be like, what are they saying? Can we understand what they're saying? And does this actually make sense, right? So let's just go with this one. So Asha Health we'll do is the first one. So launch your AI clinic. Okay. I look at this and I'm thinking, okay, are they speaking to the practitioners? So we help medical practices spin up their own AI clinic, designed to fill crucial care gaps, launch my AI clinic. So I think this is actually a decent site. I would want a little social proof. Like, are there companies that are up here? The first thought I had when I saw AI clinic though was like, who is this speaking to?
Yeah.
Because I don't think any practitioner I've ever talked to likes AI.
Definitely not.
Curious
Definitely
your
not.
thoughts.
Yeah, the only thing like that tips it off is like the 100 physicians at the bottom, and it's like what 22 size like font. Like, good luck. So it's like I think about like, am I shopping for this? Even if I'm not the ICP, you know, or even if I'm not like speaking, it's like, is anybody shopping for launch your AI clinic?
Absolutely not.
No. So what are we doing?
Not. 100% not.
What are we doing?
I think they're thinking about the technology rather than the outcome that the practitioner is trying to create, right? So what they should say is like, create better patient outcomes with, a digital assistant or something like that.
Exactly. Or like, doctors care a lot about throughput. They want to see more. They're always getting dinged on like, how do they do more, like meeting with people over their lunch so they can increase their throughput, because that's where their incentive lies. So it's like, increase your, like, see 2x the patients in the same amount of time.
Love that.
Or, something like that. Maybe it's not throughput, because they might be talking to like the practice owners. Oh, what is this that you're doing?
I'm just I'm just in the expecting the console, just changing the headline to see how it looks on the site and see if like, okay, if we came in and we saw this instead of what it is currently, does this convey more of what is actually like this is trying to accomplish?
Sweet. That's sick. I don't think people know that you can do that. So
it's an easy way to be like, does this convey the idea and the feeling that I'm that I'm trying to get them to experience?
Also,
right?
This is a great way to do permissionless projects, people. If you want, and you are a copywriter and you want to do like rewriting hero sections as a service, you can literally do that in design, screenshot it, rip it, film yourself while you do it. That's
another thing that jumps out at me too is that they're referencing Asha Health. I don't care. I don't care about your company. I don't care at all.
Yeah,
tell me what you're doing for me.
Yeah, this screams for me. It's like, for me. I'm Asha. I'm this, I'm that, I'm that. It's like, you need to be 90% for them, and them is your customers, and 10%, if 10% for you.
Also, write less passively. Like make your medical practice more efficient, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
Like, make a statement that you believe that you can accomplish for them. And this isn't perfect. I would, obviously do multiple versions of this, but like, just these small things can make a huge impact. And now look at the contrast between this and what they have currently now, right? Let's just like do this. So launch your AI clinic. Okay, I don't think I really want to do that. I don't know what that means. In contrast, see 2x more patients in half the time, make your medical practice more efficient, right? That immediately I'm like, oh, like this is enticing to me. I can make more money with that. But what's your thoughts on this?
I love it. And then like, I would change the call to action to be like, get set up in 5 minutes or whatever. Something like what do I need to do? Right. Cause you like, at every point from hero to sub to the button, you can look at that as a mini funnel, and you're going to have drop off each way of the go. So it's like, cool, I'm interested in seeing 2x patients in half the time. I do want more efficiency. What do I have to give to get that? And I have to give 5 minutes. All right, I'll get five. I'll get in there in 5 minutes.
Totally.
And then guess what? The minute you click that, your onboarding has to be dialed, people.
Totally.
And that ain't it.
Nope. I would probably just drop them into like name, email first thing, because personally, I always am trying to capture their information as quickly as possible without everything else. It's just it's a section of the form basically. So like, the one of two of the form is name, email, whatever other contact information you want. And then the second of that form is then where it's like if you need qualifying information, that's the difference. And this company is probably super early, right? They're probably just starting to trying to have initial conversations with customers. But personally, like I look at funded companies, I'm like, if you're funded, like you need to be sprinting. So every part of this needs to be like basically like locked in. Because all you need to be focusing on is that the first two pieces of activation, acquisition and activation, right? Get those people in, get the sign up to happen. How do I get them to start using the product? So
yeah, and so like reducing the like requirements that they like have to fill out. Like this is a huge friction point. A full screen 8 field thing where also no hero shots, no anything. Like, dude, get in Bolt.new or Lovable and like cook up a user interface.
Yeah,
like, you can make a clickable prototype.
There's 2.5 frames, right, to complete this form. Like it's 1, 2, 2.5 frames basically of this whole page. This should just be a single thing with the only action that you're trying to get them to do. But
yeah. And I know a lot of these companies just don't have it, like they it's like the Joe Biden Trump like meme where it's like, I don't know what he just said and I'm pretty sure he doesn't either. That's kind of how like I feel like reviewing early sites is like, I don't even think they know what they're building yet.
No, totally. And that's fine. Like that can be a part of it. But I think what you said, what I think is the biggest piece of this is like, are people wanting this thing that you're trying to get them to sell? Like so often I see companies try to sell a thing to people that they're not wanting to buy, rather than like, it's the same thing, just repositioned in a different way on a thing they're wanting to buy, right? An outcome that they're wanting to buy. They're not trying to buy your thing. They're trying to buy an outcome that you provide them. So only 3 things that people are trying to buy. It's time back. They're trying to get more money, or they're trying to have more status within their community. So those are the 3 things that you have to think about. And there's the only 3 things that you can lean on to sell with.
Yeah, I love that question so much when I'm writing like hero copies or reviewing anything like that. It's just like, does anyone shop for this headline?
Totally. And that's such a good filter. Like
it's such a good filter. Like you will be deleting headlines for all day, real quick.
all day.
I'll be deleting all my headlines. So
I love it. Cool. Let's do the next one. Right. We can filter these of like which ones we find interesting too. So Bitfrost Orbital is building a network of relay satellites. This one is not as much like, I would say it's more like a hard tech. So maybe we skip that one. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, let's do something like that has like a chance at PMF in like the next week.
Cool. So maybe HumanLayer or Human in the Loop for AI agents.
Let's rip it.
Yeah.
Okay, I like videos. I'm big on videos right now.
Yep.
So we'll see how long they last, but I do like videos.
Yep. Contact humans for feedback, input, and approvals. Okay, so it sounds like what they're doing is basically it plugs in, so an agent does work, and then it contacts a human to like okay their work. That's kind of what I'm taking from this? What's your
guess and check system. Yeah. Even in the loop with agents, it's like it is pretty jargony, I would say.
Yep.
And maybe this is the demographic that they're going after with when they have API and SDK. Like maybe it is for devs, which in this case I would be okay with.
Yep, and it's a .dev. I actually think this is all right. I don't love this either. I think that it feels like, what is this? This is 7 words and 6 of them are jargon.
Yeah.
I think what would be more probably impactful is something like provide feedback to AI agents work, or something like that.
Or like almost automated.
Yeah.
Or like automated almost or something, like fully automated almost. I think like that tugs at like how people feel about AI and agents right now too.
Yep.
So there is like a I saw someone the other day on Twitter. They were like, pumped about my tool, like almost got the spelling right, you know?
Yep.
It's like dope. I'm in, dude. Let me sign up. If you're almost getting the spelling, I know you got something cool. So
Yep. I actually think that this personally, if I landed on a site like this, it would intrigue me. So like fully automated ... almost. And then it's like, okay, this headline makes me go, okay, what is this? This is like speaking to a feeling that everybody has, like you just said. And then this describes very explicitly. And what I did here too, just to show this, is like I removed their like HumanLayer is an API.
Yeah.
Like they already know it. You're here. They're here. You don't need to say your name again.
Yeah, it's like, hey, hey, I'm Jordan, and I approve this message.
Exactly. Instead, it's like API and SDK that enables AI agents to contact humans for feedback, input, and approvals. This, to me, brilliant. Like, this is actually, I think, like something that people are having a problem with, and also a way that communicates it.
Yeah, we need to send this to them ASAP. I think one thing that they could do to like make this ready to ship is have a better thumbnail on their video, where it's like maybe some meme about like a robot and a human, you know, like locking up,
or even like
something.
A Slack message that's like, you know, from have it be like 007 agent.
Yeah,
and it's
exactly.
like, hey, this, like, I just completed, you know, this task, and it's like a Trello card that's like attached in it. Can you give me feedback on what I did? You know, something like that.
Totally. It's cool though. I mean, I'm intrigued. Might check this out later.
Same. Sweet. All right. Fabricate. Hardware engineers spend a quarter of their time just figuring out how to get. I actually like that it's a little bit more human of language.
Let's do this. Yeah. I think I saw this team. I'm a mechanical engineering.
Purchasing built for hardware. Streamline your purchasing with intelligent procurement.
Sir, this is a Wendy's.
Exactly. Okay, so I'm just going to show people like an easy way to, like, in one sentence.
Did they just put two verbs back to back?
Yes.
Purchasing built.
Simplify. Only 10 words.
Intelligent procurement software. Yeah, I mean,
Fabricate helps hardware teams buy parts faster and save engineers time.
Where can we send the Stripe invoice? Where can we send?
All right, so let's redo this one just to show how much better it ends up being, right? And maybe automate logistics tracking for hardware companies, or what's your I think it needs to be like explicit.
Yeah, it needs to be like tethered. So I think about like, how do people shop for groceries? How do engineers shop? Like Amazon for engineers, or yeah, like imagine if you had I'm trying to think about how to like frame it. Because ERPs, I know like the target audience knows who this is. Like basically like it's a sourcing dilemma here. Like, hey, I'm trying to make whatever, a medical device, and I need like 20 different vendors, and it's like I need them to be approved suppliers, etc. So it's like, sourcing in a click or something. Or it's like, I don't know. Maybe it's like buy parts faster. Like,
or spend less time buying parts, or spend less time tracking parts. I'm thinking like hardware sourcing.
It's for the engineer. Or like, like sourcing you don't hate.
Yep.
You know, because you're like talking to the engineers here. So you can get like, if you're really niche like this, and you're like really going to be targeting like this demographic, you can use inside jokes and like inside pain points where you can be like, oh, if you know, they're one of us, and your credibility can increase.
So I would change the subtitle then to buy hardware or buy parts, or buy hardware parts. Buy hardware parts faster and save engineering time. I don't know, something like that. This isn't perfect. I don't think this is there all the way, but I think this is how I would go about it. But
this one's tough just because the design I think is absolutely trash as well. Like it's just what are we doing here?
What would you
like,
do on the design wise to make this more representative?
I would go left justified with it, and then a product video. Like these complex things, like these screenshots. Like if you have time, like, or if you have interest, like this does absolutely nothing for me. You know, like you could be clickable prototype in Bolt in like literally one day with like a design that looks dang good. Like it won't work, like it's not there yet, but that's what I would do. It's just too like linear too. Like it's too like dark mode linear. And it's like, are you serving Y Combinator, your peers, or are you serving your customers?
Yeah, I'd almost go like I would look at like S&P or sorry, or look at like SAP,
or like, and like or Oracle. You know, it's like who's like, buying their website? ERP systems.
And then just mirror it.
Like ERPs. Like who are the ERP systems? Like if you can level it up and make it feel even a little bit better. I mean, SAP, like they're just they're just absolutely massive.
Yeah, totally.
I don't even understand how all the stuff they do. But yeah, so that's a cool product though.
I think it serves a huge problem. I think again, it's just like how do you communicate that thing more effectively? So
yeah, and like show the process of the problem, you know, like going from 3D modeling to hardware prints to talking to vendors to getting quotes to sourcing it. Like that's like a 4-week process.
To looking at costs, to looking where each of the the items that we ordered at, etc.
Yeah, you could go with a simple like us versus them too, like or today versus tomorrow to show as well, where it's like today laundry list of tasks, tomorrow like use Fabricate. So I think that's cool.
Yeah, I think another thing of this too is like traditionally, it's like if an engineer is spending time having to track products, that's a massive resource like suck. I mean, and that's probably the positioning of this actually is like, your engineers stop spending time on the procurement and logistics tracking up for, the things they're building. Like they spend their time engineering rather than, doing all this other almost like paperwork, et cetera.
Yeah, you could do that. Like you could do something like that for the headline too, where it's like, like your engineer's best kept secret or something.
Exactly.
Like like I don't know. So yeah, let your engineers engineer.
Yep, I love that actually.
Or your engineers should be engineering.
Yeah. Inspect.
So I've always changed that. That's something where we were really critical at the beginning, like just speak exactly what it does. But sometimes stuff's boring and you need to add some levity to things. So have some fun with it too.
Or even like keep engineers engineering.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, keep that. That's really good. 3 words. See, we just cut 3 words out, made it 3 words.
And then, buy, track, and audit, hardware parts. And again, it just depends on like what their actual like product does. But I would try to hit like, what are 3 things it's doing, faster and say, faster. Yeah, it would just be like faster, honestly. I think I would just get rid of that. Or like 80% faster, make it concrete.
We're cooking for real.
I love this stuff, dude.
We're cooking for real.
I love to keep engineers engineering.
Yeah, dude. I think we might do a hero section agency here.
I feel like that is a
limited
huge
time
thing.
only.
Yeah. Send them in, right?
Until we get bored. We
Line
are
cook.
open for business.
Oh, I love it. All right. So Roundabout Tech, software for AI powered traffic lights. Let's look at the site.
This is sick.
Yeah.
Like,
okay, oh my God.
human-centric traffic lights.
Oh God.
Dude, am I a traffic light for Halloween?
God. Holy God. So I would change it to something like this. Never make me wait at a red light again, but we'll make that like it's more specific.
Cars are smart, lights are still dumb. Like traffic lights are still dumb or something, you know? Cars are getting smarter, lights are staying dumb.
Yeah. Drivers are smart. Traffic lights are dumb.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Like,
so
maybe it's like not anymore, you know, or something.
Yeah.
They're just like, until now.
Yeah.
Or it's like you could do something fun there too. It's like traffic lights are dumb, and you could cross out R and just like have like a handwritten were.
Yeah.
Like that's a design element that you can
I
like
think that's
have
great.
the copy.
Yeah, traffic lights were dumb. So there's that. Okay, before we do that, I want to be like, what is this in the 8th grade level?
Oh yes.
All right. So now do the same for this. Roundabout uses AI to make traffic lights smarter and cities safer. All right. So this is what it is now. I'm going to open up another window. We're going to put just the ChatGPT version in. Also, I want to make this tool public where it's like...
What tool?
Just like that, like you basically just like paste in a website URL and it tells you what it actually does and like
oh yeah,
few words, right?
Yeah.
So Roundabout uses AI to make traffic lights smarter and cities safer versus human-centric traffic lights powered by AI.
Crazy.
Okay, so to break down the contrast, the only thing that jumps out at me is traffic lights. I'm like, okay, I'm kind of context oriented with that. I have no idea what this means. I have no idea what this means. Maybe kind of I have what this means. It's like we're focused on the human's experience, I guess, maybe. But in contrast, it's like, AI makes traffic lights smarter and cities safer. Or AI, and I would even be like optimize traffic lights and make cities safer. How would you get that to be more fewer text? What's your thoughts?
Yeah. We don't have to do it, but remove Roundabout out of there for sure.
Yeah. Before you have an aneurysm.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just like the technology is powerful, but our objects are still dumb.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So it's like adding AI, or AI can be safe. Or like something like that. So we put it in traffic lights.
City streets safer.
Yeah. I guess you could call us Batman. Like, why don't they name their company like Vigilante? Like,
that's such a good name.
Come on, dog. Roundabout Technologies.
That's such a good name.
Yeah.
Make city streets safer. And then you can go into the explanation. And I would just do like, make this 10 words.
This is so underrated of doing this. Like, just sparring with either Claude or ChatGPT. Like,
totally.
And just say, do less.
And then deciding, okay, is this conveying the idea, right? So like, let's look at this now, contrasting it. All right. Human-centric traffic lights powered by AI, right?
We make AI powered.
Yep. So it
Powered by AI.
It lost me right here is where I stopped reading.
Yeah. Well, it's like, look at this too, where they're like, human-centric traffic lights powered by AI powered traffic lights. Like, yeah. It's just like, what? Did you just say the same thing twice backwards?
Exactly. Say new things every time you're writing something. So make city streets safer. Sorry, that's 2 streets in there. Let me get rid of that. So make city streets safer. AI traffic signals optimize real-time flow, reducing waits and enhancing safety. I mean,
yeah, I'll
buy that now, right? You're selling it to a government.
Totally. This is like for everybody, right? And you can have like your different stakeholders. You can have different landing pages that speak directly to them, you know?
Totally.
Like if you're speaking to whatever, the director of transportation for a said city, like know their pain points and make headlines specifically for them. Like you can even ask ChatGPT. Like I think a lot of people get that wrong too. Is like who said that you're only allowed to have one landing page?
Totally. I totally agree. I actually think that the rest of the site, like this showing this is aha moment. So
totally
sick. So sick. I almost
or you could do like a today versus tomorrow thing, like I was saying. You know, it's like today, it's just like you're just got a camera. Tomorrow, it's like, or like a slider. That'd be so sick.
Yep. Like like where it's the image sliders, where it's like the teeth whitening apps or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Like X-ray vision.
I love it. Okay, cool. Let's do. We got time for one more. We help AI agents learn from data. Use synth. I don't know if that's that interesting. I feel like we kind of did one already. Help care AI workers for healthcare orgs to find, call, and schedule more patients. Interesting.
We both got a little healthcare in the past. A little healthcare experience in the past. So,
all right, this is a great one. Oh my God.
I mean, the visual, like, okay.
I don't mind.
I don't mind the visual.
I think that
like the process.
What care more is the first thing, though. I hate when there's a delay on the messaging. Personally, I'm curious your thoughts.
Terrible. Look at all this movement here too.
Yep.
Like this stuff's flipping, that stuff's flipping. Yep. All these people look AI. People, if you're building an AI in healthcare, they cannot look AI. Yep. Like period. Like that is the last industry that is going robots.
100%. They despise it. Also, I wouldn't message it as AI.
No.
I would message it as like an AI receptionist. It's funny, the YC description actually says better what this thing does than the homepage currently.
Yeah, this is...
I don't even know how we could change this, but like, I mean, the text...
We can't
You'd
even
have to redo the whole fucking thing. But the text on this though of like AI, I wouldn't call it an AI worker. I would just say, find, call, and schedule, or digital receptionist. I would say our digital receptionist for healthcare. Find, call, and schedule more patients automatically.
Digital receptionist for Susan.
Yeah.
Like, you know, sidekick for Susan. Yeah, dude, a lot of these people struggle. Like AI, if like AI is going to be invisible, stop putting your product messaging around AI.
Yep.
It's going to go away.
Look at how many of these too.
It's crazy. I know it's like in vogue right now, and like especially that's how you get funded for YC.
That's how you raise,
blah blah blah.
Right?
But like,
here's a good one for architects.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. Vague, but I mean, at least they're calling out who it is, right?
Yeah. Not mad. I just don't know what it means, and I don't think they do either. Architects meaning, like what
are the tedious tasks specifically? Exactly. Show me 3 of them.
So I think the copy's fine here. It's the visuals supporting that just don't do it at all. So like you got to have visual copy tether here. Yeah. And what are the tedious tasks? You know, maybe they like are listed there and they like funnel down into like the brand or whatever. or the AI Copilot. So you could have a hero on the left, funnel it down, and then say what it is. Because you're visually showing what you're doing too.
So creating, editing, and optimizing architectural plans in 2D, 3D.
Okay.
So this is probably a time-saving positioning.
Yeah. I'm sure they have to do render the 2Ds right now and then render the 3Ds. And I bet it's like multi-software. You see the 2D, 3D there. Why not invest in a GIF or like a video that's like literally like it's being sketched,
You know what this is probably
like,
doing? They can design in 3D and it automatically does the 2D.
Yeah, I bet it does that too. I think that was what Fabricate was doing too. They weren't saying it, but I think it was taking 3D models and making drawings to make sourcing easier.
Totally.
That's a cool trend.
That is a super cool trend. It's like do once, get all the versions. It's funny. It's actually like it's the same as what's happening in content, right? Where it's like do one thing and then get all these variations, like remix it out.
We're simple beings. We are simple beings.
Yep.
Yeah,
well,
this is really cool.
This is fun.
Yeah, it was really fun. Hopefully this was valuable. I know we were jamming and we had a blast. So
I love this, and I think for a lot of founders, like this is like one of the most impactful things that they can do, but it's not thought about, right? Like they get all obsessed with like product market fit and like building product and what's my distribution, but in reality, like what they should be saying is, and really the origin of every company in my mind is like, do people want to buy this thing? Can I sell it to them? And what is the language to create that bridge, right? Like selling is just finding the language to sell the thing that people want to buy to them. So,
and if the language is off, you'll never know if they want it. So you might as well start there.
Yeah. And you should meet them too. I think, the final thing to leave people with is like, don't force a viewpoint on, like Coca-Cola can't get people to buy more Coca-Cola. And they're one of the most funded companies in the world. Like, why did they buy all these water brands? Why did they buy all of these like kombucha company? Why are those? It's because these trends are happening and they have to respond to them. Business is actually a lot more of responding to the market forces, not forcing things on the market force. But
totally,
the classic I get is people will be like, oh, but what about cloud? Like they force cloud on people. It's like, no, they wanted cheaper compute and easier. Like they didn't want to have racks that they were doing. Like that is still a want. It's still a need. They're still attaching to a thing that people want. So that's my final thought. But any last words?
I love it. That's it, dude.
Amazing.
A blast.
Yeah, Jordan. If people want to reach out to you, where can they find you?
Twitter or X is the best. Jordan Mix, JRDNMIX. Check it out. Say what's up. We love meeting friends on the internet.
Amazing. Yeah, we'll link it in the show notes below. And thanks again, homie.
All right, bro. Thanks for having me in the pit.
Yeah, glad to have you back, man.
All right, bro.
Cheers.
Peace.